Hey guys, it's Fred. This may be an interesting video to some of you. I don't know. You ever been traveling down the road and see a oncoming driver on the opposite side flashing his headlights at you, and you think to yourself, well, that's either an accident or a speed trap. Somebody's running radar. And usually that's what it is. Now this attorney here, I think this is an attorney, and he's talking about a police chief had posted on Facebook that he wants people to quit flashing their lights at people to warn them that there's a police officer running radar, and because it could be somebody running from a crime, or it could be an impaired driver, it could be, well, it could also be a little green man from the moon. Now I'm going to tell you what I have done for years and years. And I have probably, I would like to think, probably saved more accidents or more lives than the police officer up there writing a ticket. Because when you're writing a ticket, you only get the one, because everybody knows you're with him. You're writing a citation to him. But if you're flashing your lights at all these cars coming, you're slowing them all down. They don't know what's ahead of them, but they know it's something. I've been, Sheila and I both, we do this. Be traveling somewhere and you see an oncoming vehicle. I mean, you can see, especially after 40 years of being a police officer, but even without any police experience, you guys have been driving down the road before and seeing a car coming at you and high rate of speed. You know, in your mind, you're thinking, wow, he's passing them other cars like they're sitting still. He's flying. And there's not a cop in sight. There's nobody running radar. There's nobody. What do? I'll tell you what Sheila and I do. We start flashing our lights like there's a speed trap, like we just passed a cop behind us. Now, what did that do? Maybe nothing. Maybe nothing. But if you'll look in your mirror, you'll see his brake lights come on. So at least for that instance, he slowed down because he's looking for either an accident or a police officer running radar up ahead of them. So you'd like to think that you've done good and maybe prevented an accident. Now he goes on down the road 2 or 3 miles and he's thinking, well, that was a false call. Or could the officer have already wrote his ticket, turned around and went the other way? Could he done a flip-flop? Now, back in the old days, early days, as a police officer, you would see somebody flashing their lights. You could see them at a distance, and they're flashing their lights at other cars coming on. And you may turn around, go back and get that person. And you pull them over and you say, what's the problem? And they say, what do you mean, what's the problem? Well, I seen you flashing your lights. Well, it panics them to death because they don't know if they've done something illegal or not. Well, it's not illegal to flash your lights and warn people that there's a traffic hazard ahead, there's a police officer ahead. You may want to move over to the other lane. You may want to be more cautious in that area. And the person would say, no, I was just flashing my lights. And the good thing is you can see if the person is impaired or anything, which they're not. They're just trying to be a good person and let the public know that there's a police officer back there waiting to write a ticket. Slow down. See, whether you write a ticket or you flash your lights, you get the same outcome. Traffic slows down. So if you can get the same outcome by just flashing your lights and save the person $150, $180, why not? Now, I've asked people before, well, I saw you flashing your lights and I thought you was wanting something. I thought, I'm playing stupid. And then the person says, no, I was just flashing my lights to let people know a police officer was back there. And then I would tell them, I knew you was, and thanks for telling the truth. There's not a thing wrong with that, and I encourage you to do that. If you ever run up on a driver coming towards you and he's speeding or driving reckless, don't forget to do that maneuver, because in his mind, he's thinking there's a police officer ahead of him, and you may just save somebody's life. So I'm going to play the video and we'll end this one. I'm not going to...
Here's Steve Lato.
I got a note from Steve. Just Steve, not Steven. That's Steve. And he says, Steve, check out the story from West Virginia. Marion County Police Chief warns against flashing brights to signal speed traps. Consider the potential risks. Think of the children. Sam Kirk wrote this for WBOY TV. That's right, Boy TV. A West Virginia police chief says that flashing your bright lights to alert other drivers of law enforcement could have bigger consequences than most realize. Now, here's the deal. You know that a lot of people, you're driving down the road, you see a police officer parked off the side, speed trap, waiting for someone to come by speeding. And you go over the hill and someone's coming the other way. Some people are tempted to flash your lights or do something to let the driver know, hey, there's something up there you need to watch out for. But not everyone does it. And, you know, I've had people flash their lights at me and there's nothing up there. And I'm like, what was that all about? But the point is that the chief says that there could be consequences. Now, it's not the consequences you might think of at first, because it turns out that in most states, the courts have ruled so that simply warning another driver that there's police over there.
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me.
Okay, guys, you got the just part of it before the commercial came on. Now, this guy's YouTube channel is at the bottom left of the screen that you can go and watch the entirety. I think that's about a 10-minute video. It's more than I was going to play anyway. The point is here that I encourage you, when you see an officer on the side of the road running radar and you're going down the road, to flash your lights. Let the other drivers know that there's a police officer up there. They may want to get over in the opposite lane to protect that officer from being hit by a car. They may slow down if they are speeding. Do we care? Again, it's a means to an end. As long as they slow down and they're not speeding, you just save that person some money, might have saved their life, certainly saved the police officer from getting out on the road and endangering himself. So, and plus it starts a good habit of all these people. If everybody that would see speeders going down the road, I'm talking about reckless, I'm talking about somebody driving like a bat out of you know where. Does it really hurt to flash your lights even if there's not a cop back behind you? Don't hurt a bit. Flash your lights 2 or 3 times. Let that reckless driver think to himself, oh, thank you, man. He'll probably flash back at you or wave at you, thinking you're doing him a favor. You are. You might have saved his life. He might hit a deer or run up on an accident or anything. That's just Fred's 2 cents. Thanks for joining me. Catch you next time, guys.